And hello, my cost control class. How is everybody doing here? We are officially in week number 11. I don't think this video is going to be long in terms of duration here. It's kind of somewhat of a extension of what we started discussing last week. And if you can remember, we were talking about employee organization last week and employee structures within the restaurant industry. So how we would want our employee structure to look within our restaurant. Okay, how many chefs, how many waiters and waitresses. Okay, when it comes to the waiting staff. Okay, would we want supervisors, okay, to work up under the actual restaurant manager? Things that we have to really think about, and there's a cost-effective measure and approach that we have to actually take regarding this. Okay, payroll is an overhead expense. So that's something to think about, which kind of leads me into what we're going to be discussing this week. We're going to be talking about labor cost, and we're going to talk about some factors that are surrounding that. So what I did, I provided some, and this happens to be chapter 11 of your text. So as we've done every week this semester, you're looking at the written lecture that I provided for you. Then you're getting into the chapter readings. And of course, our chapter readings are centered around chapter 11 of our textbook. So this kind of breaks down some different factors pertaining to labor costs. Now, there's some math that is included in this. Okay, as you know, with cost control, it's really basic math when we're figuring out, okay, any type of salaries or hourly rates. As we started the semester, if you remember, we were converting percentages over to decimals. We were figuring out yields and unit conversions. And of course, your assignment, your final paper that you're writing right now is divided up as scaffolded into different sections. Okay, if you remember, you gave examples of unit and yield conversions. Now, with this, okay, you're just going to look at how you want to pay your employees for the most part. For example, okay, what is the advantages of hourly versus salary? If we think about it, the hourly wage, okay, comes with overtime. Most hourly workers, if they happen to work over 40 hours a week, any additional hours, you have to pay overtime for that. Whereas with salary, if an individual is making $60,000 a year, they can put in 40 or they can put in 60 hours a week at work. Their salary is $60 a year. So there are no overtime rules or conditions that are actually applicable to that. So take a look at this as I've written out this lecture, like factors pertaining to labor cost, also the breakdown of salary employees. And then I give some examples of equations pertaining to labor cost percentages. And then even I kind of go down to measuring the performance. Now, how do we retain employees? Since we're talking about employee organization and structure, the one thing that employees look for, they look for some sort of incentive or bonus program when they're actually employed with the company. Well, this also applies for the restaurant industry. As you know, most waiters and waitresses, okay, work for an hourly minimum wage. So what do they heavily rely on? They rely on the tips being given by the customers. That's why it's always good to give a tip. Okay, the average is normally 15% gratuity, okay, on your bill when you go out to eat at a restaurant, but it's always good to be generous. You may want to give more. You may want to give a 20% tip at times, or even maybe 25%, depending on what your bill is. That really helps out those that wait on the customers as they come into the restaurant hand and foot and serve them. Now, of course, you want good quality service to go along with that. All right. And that's when the tip should be rewarded. Now, that's the position of the customer. Okay. And what they should do is to show gratitude. But let's look at some examples here of how employers can set up different incentives how do they motivate employees, okay, to even work even more, to provide, to give more of an output? So training programs should be in place. We look at different factors of performance, as well as just having a morale of motivating, okay, and effectively managing. Now that comes with the different leadership styles. I don't know if many of you all have taken any management courses, but there are leadership styles within management, all right, that we have to look at, all right. Some leaders, okay, happen to be very democratic, okay, meaning that they will listen to employee input. And then you have some leaders that happen to be very autocratic, meaning, okay, it's their way and their way only. So it's a very stern, very direct by the book approach, you know, which a lot of employees do not prefer the autocratic leader compared to the democratic leader. But employee input is not really given freely with the autocratic leader in comparison to the Democrat leader when it comes to leadership and management. So look at, again, going back to this, are different factors of performances that can be put into place. Like, okay, a very sound and effective training program, okay, that will help to manage employees and also motivate them. And I just said this a few minutes ago, giving different incentive and reward programs. How about giving bonuses? Okay. How about giving different packages? Okay. Along with the bonuses. Like, for example, okay, it could be a gift card, okay, to go to a person's favorite restaurant, okay, or a gift card to maybe purchase something at a department store. All right. There's a lot of different approaches. Or maybe have an employee appreciation day at the restaurant. That could also be incorporated, okay, when it comes to motivating, okay, and boosting up the morale of employees. There's a lot of different things that can occur regarding this. And then, of course, safety is always an issue, is always a factor that needs to be addressed among employees. So, as of course, and you see I've written this out in the written lectures, as you engage your discussions in your weekly assignments, think about the challenges that are faced by the restaurant manager when it comes to controlling overhead costs that are applicable to payroll. But then also what you want to do is you want to look at it from this perspective of not only the manager, but also put yourself in the position of the employee. What is the employee input? What are the employee thoughts in regards to this? Okay, so looking at your assignments, of course, your week 11 discussions, you have 2 of them, as you have every week. These are going to be due on Thursday night. Okay, 1, you're figuring out some math here, okay, regarding budgeted cost and actual cost, okay, for food and beverage. But then also, what you're doing is you're kind of putting together, and this is based out of your textbook, page 172. All right, this article happens to go back to 3 years ago, but I want you to put yourself in a reflective as being a manager. All right, put yourself in a position as a manager at one of the McDonald's restaurants. Okay, you want to give an answer in your own words in terms of how you improve labor costs in the following areas. All right, so what I'm looking for is just give me a response, okay, in about 3 to 4 sentences, okay? It can be very brief, okay? How would you improve it in training, also motivating and managing employees, forecasting, and also safety when it comes to reducing injuries and illnesses? All right, so again, your discussion questions are going to be due on Thursday night, and then your week 11 assignment, what you're going to do is you're going to use the internet, all right? And I want you to find an article that discusses, and I already did a Google search on this class. There's plenty of articles out there that are centered around hourly and salary employees within the restaurant industry, okay? Now, I kind of gave some examples to further elaborate what I'm looking for. Okay, you can discuss the average in terms of hourly or salary employees, giving a medium in terms of what's earned by those employees that work within the restaurant industry. You can also give the challenges of hourly and salary employees over the last years dealing with COVID-19. Or you can also talk about the challenges that restaurant managers have when it comes to meeting payroll for employees within an establishment. Now, those are just some examples, okay? Whatever article you find, though, I want it to be based on either hourly or salary employees within the restaurant industry, okay? And I'm looking for a summary. Give me 2 paragraphs, okay? And, of course, the writing in looking for that to be in APA format. This is going to be due on Saturday night. Saturday night, 11:59 p.m., your week 11 assignment will be due. Okay, everyone, so we are winding down the semester, believe it or not. This is week number 11. After this, we have 4 more weeks before the semester ends. So make it a valiant effort, class, is to get everything submitted on time and not fall behind. Because we are turning the corner to where we're looking at the end of the semester. We have 4 more weeks left. If you have any questions, my contact information here, you know how I can be reached. Okay, everyone, enjoy your weekend. If you happen to be looking at this video over the weekend, this is Professor Javier Black signing off, and I will talk to everyone soon.